I am going to make a traditional Métis tourtière. Yeah.
Tell me about the dish a little bit about the tortilla. I don't know what it entails.
So this dish is a traditional Métis dish that a lot of times we eat at Christmas time. I make it throughout the year, but it was a Christmas dish that a lot of people would go to church and then they would come home. They would go to midnight mass, come home, and they would eat the tourtière. Yeah. It stirs, coming from a traditional Métis family, a lot of memories. My granny made it. My family makes it all the time, and so it's kind of a family meal. Yeah. Okay. So first of all, I have already cooked pork and beef. Traditionally, the tourtière would have been made with deer meat or venison, and then some animal fat, or if you're lucky enough to have some pork to put in it because venison is so lean. So I have pre-cooked some meat, and I'm going to add some onion and some celery and some garlic. So we're going to cook that a bit. No, our recipe is usually onions and garlic. I do add celery, which is not necessarily a traditional thing because at this point in the year, you're not going to have, a lot of those root vegetables and that sort of thing. So this is going to cook. I've pre-made some potatoes, so potatoes will go in with it. Some of the important spices, and I think it comes from the venison being strong. These are all sort of Christmas tasting spices, which is some thyme. So I put about a teaspoon of thyme. I don't usually measure. It's just kind of made from to taste. So any of these spices are optional, for you. Some people don't like as much whole spice or allspice in. I do, especially around Christmas time, because it reminds me of Christmas. So about a half a teaspoon of allspice, a little bit of cinnamon, probably about a quarter of a teaspoon of cinnamon. And then some people add cloves. I'm not going to do that, and I'm going to put a little bit of red pepper flake in it. So of course, as we evolve from the old days where we have access to more spices, it's really to your own taste. Okay, so I'm just going to turn that right down. Let it cook for a while we make the pie shell. So the pie crust is probably the easiest out of all of what we're doing today. And I know people are afraid of it because, it can be a bit of a daunting task. So my recipe is 5 cups of flour, and then you want your Crisco or lard to be quite cold. So it's a pound of Crisco. And we're gonna cut it into the flour. So the trick to have a nice flaky crust is to leave a few little bigger pieces of the lard. Not too big, but enough that it's gonna form that liquid or that lard, and then it's going to be a really nice flaky pie crust. There we go. So it's that's how I like it to look. A little bit, you can do a little bit more, but that's good. And then you're going to put an egg, a cup of water. Okay, so you're going to do a cup of water. You're going to put in the egg, and so you want your water fairly cold as well. So you mix your egg in with your water, and you put in a little bit of vinegar, and I just probably about a teaspoon. And then again, you're going to make a well in the middle, and you're going to pour your water in. Water, egg, and vinegar. And you're going to move your flour and lard into the middle. Now you don't want to touch it too much because what you're doing is you're melting the lard. So again, I'm going to turn this out here, and we're going to just fold it together lightly.
What the temperature should be preheating at?
350, 375. Everything's cooked inside the pie. So it's really what you're concerned about now is your pie crust cooking. Okay. So I'm going to show you a little trick. Lots of times people are afraid to roll out the pie crust because it sticks to everything. So this is a little trick that I use. Put out a piece of saran wrap. Put some flour on it. Take, I don't know, I'm going to say a good handful of your, because I always do a deep dish. Make it to a little top hat. Put a little bit more flour. Take another piece of saran wrap. And then we're going to roll it out. So then, when you go to put your crust in, you can just take this, put it over here. You can maneuver it as well. And then, there you go. So we've got this cooking. Now we're going to take a cup of beef broth, and we're going to put it in. Mix it around, and we're going to take this over here, and we're going to put it in with potatoes, mashed potatoes, which I already have cooked up. So of course everybody knows how to make mashed potatoes. And we're going to mix it together. Some people make it without mashed potatoes. We've always made it with, so just makes it for a heartier meal, and it stretches a little bit further because people, of course, didn't have a lot of extras back in the day in our communities. Now we're gonna just put it in the pie. There you go. Now we're going to give the pie a top. Okay. So we got our top. So I take my fingers, go like this. So you pinch down the edges, and then you take your pie and a knife, and you go underneath the pie plate, like So you have a nice uniformed edge. Okay, on this side. So you're going to cut a hole in the middle or do a design, whatever you like. And you whisk an egg and you do an egg wash on the top of it. That's what makes it nice and brown and tasty looking. So that's the wash on the pie. Now it'll go in the oven for about, I'm gonna say 45 minutes at 350. There you go. So the final product should look like this. To get out of the pan. Voila. Kind of fell apart a little bit, but how I would probably serve this is with some gravy.